Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Ali Corman, Justin Nielsen here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, where we saw a day of some pretty nice power, Justin. But we're going to take a look under the hood and chat what the audience needs to know about for where we're at in this market.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go over the indexes in a little bit, but a few of the stocks that we'll cover, some of the big gainers today: Netflix, NFLX, Tesla, TSLA, and the shipper stocks are still looking pretty strong. And we'll take a look at Global Ship Lease, that's GSL.
Yeah, and RS Line Blue Dot stock. Well, first, let's check in on those major indexes. So visually, you can see it was a really strong day today. The NASDAQ finished with a gain of 3.4%, the strongest mover today. The Russell 2000 up almost 3%, the S&P 500 up 1.9%, and the Dow up 1.2%. So we have the NASDAQ here above the 10-day line, check, above 14,000, check, above the highs from last week. So that's checking off a lot of boxes.
Yeah, what's not to like? I mean, it checks off those boxes. Well, there's one thing not to like. Man, there's just no merchandise out there. It's you look at where the strength was today, and it was on a lot of beaten down stocks. There just isn't that many bases set up. Look, this happens sometimes when you get a big move down and you get a lot of destruction in stocks. Sometimes that requires some time. We keep on using the sports analogies. If you get like a torn Achilles tendon, you just don't go back onto the track right after that. So this is something that just might take some time to heal. The question is out there: is this a follow-through day? There was a lot of volume coming in at the end there, so we'll be looking at some final numbers that will be available in the big picture at investors.com today, so you can kind of find out about where we stand there. But again, the biggest problem I have right now is, follow through day or not, there's just not a lot of merchandise out there.
Yes, that is a struggle. We talked about that on IBD Live this morning, ways to play this potential shift in momentum here. And tomorrow morning, we will be providing all the latest on where we stand with current conditions and how the team is treating it.
Yeah. And you mentioned on the show today how David Ryan had the tweet out there, and he was saying, look, I could see the NASDAQ getting up to the 200-day moving average line, and he'll of course be on IBD Live tomorrow. So it'll be great to check in with him. And I mean, with 4 decades of experience, it's always nice to hear someone with that much of experience who's seen a lot kind of weigh in. Now, the S&P 500, by contrast, is already above its 200-day. It was not the strongest index today, but still very strong action on the S&P 500, above its 200-day, above its 10-day line. So again, as you said before, it's checking some boxes there, but you're looking at a lot of destruction underneath the surface there. And we can go ahead and take a look at ARK-K, just because this is a good kind of sense of
what was moving today.
What was moving today. It's this beaten down, things that are coming off the bottom. So ARK-K up 9.3%. That's pretty spectacular. But man, does this look rough? I mean, it's if you go to the weekly chart, you can see that this has been in a downtrend for a while, and sure, a lot of times you'll get a snapback, but this is over 50 even with almost a 10% move today. This is still over 50% off of its highs. So again, this really kind of speaks to what was driving the market higher. And I just remember Bill used to always say, look, even turkeys can fly in a hurricane.
Yes, and that can apply to Netflix. Let's also, before we get to that, look at XLU Utilities also having a big day, Justin.
Yeah, that just makes me a little suspicious. When you get a follow-through day, when you get a day of power, we would prefer our canned slim growth stocks to be the ones that are working. The fact that XLU was showing so much strength, up almost 2%, that just doesn't necessarily speak well for where the market is kind of finding strength. If you look at the sector spider, there's 11 of those sectors, and I mean, last I checked, XLU was number 4 today. Yep, that's where it ended, and it was pretty much up there the entire day. So that's just another thing that's kind of got me a little worried. Now, that doesn't mean that this can't work from here, but my expectation right now is that we get a little bit more back and forth action for a little while, and that would be good because it's going to let some of these bases finish out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let's take a look at Netflix. It is maybe no longer chill, but it's been on ice for quite a while. But up 11% today, some nice heavy volume behind the move. But man,
Up. I think you froze for me, Allie, but yeah, I'll just go ahead and jump in here and say that this has had a lot of destruction. So again, this is just pretty exemplary of the kind of stocks that we saw moving the most today. Enphase was another big one today. Yeah, this is not even filling in the gap from its earnings. So we've got a long ways to go, and our style is not the bottom fishing style. The reason is because a lot of these stocks, they can have these last ditch efforts to try and kind of suck you in, and maybe this is some short covering, who knows, but it doesn't mean that it's out of the woods yet. There can be easily another leg down, and plus, with all the volatility that we're seeing, when you're seeing stocks going up 10% and down 10% in a day, it's just real easy to be caught on the wrong side of that.
Yes, focus on quality and leadership and not bottom fishing. Well said, Justin. Let's also check in on Tesla. And it gained 11% as well today after an upside reversal at its 200-day line on Friday. A key test for those more longer-term shareholders, maybe getting in over last summer or even earlier, holding on to some lower cost basis shares. But this one looks like it also needs a little bit of time to heal.
Yeah. So for people that have been out of Tesla, and hey, look, I got knocked out myself. When that thing was going under 1,000, I got rid of my final shares. I was selling some into strength, but yeah, the fact that it got support at the 200-day, you might look at as a good thing. Certainly better than if it, started plunging below that 200-day.
Right.
But if you were going to initiate a position here, off of what? We're not normally initiating positions off the 200-day moving average line. Sure, if you were adding to a position or something like that, but if you take that step back to the weekly chart, and a lot of times when Bill O'Neill was doing his base analysis, he'd look at the weekly chart. What kind of base is this? This is something where you have
bottom.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because someone would say, hey, is this a triple bottom, Bill? And he's like, triple bottom? Show me some triple bottoms that worked. That's not that wasn't in his lexicon of stocks when he was looking at the model book stocks, some of the best performers of each market cycle. It was double bottoms, not triple bottoms that he was looking at. And so this is something that had a 40% gain from its last breakout, round trip that whole thing, undercut it. So again, if you've been holding this for a while and you stuck with it, great. You got a 10% plus gain today, but initiating a position here, it just seems like what model book stock started out like this. And
such a good point.
Yeah, it's just not a base that we would we could even classify at this point.
Yeah. If this kind of thing was known to work,
we'd have examples in there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's check in on some shipping stocks, namely Global Ship Lease, GSL. Really big upside reversal last week, Justin. And flipping on over to the daily chart, we do have that RS line blue dot.
Yeah, so this is kind of where I'm trying to gravitate towards for every market cycle. It's just this is where I find it a little bit easier to make my purchases. It's just easier to follow the rules because this is our style. So it's better to kind of stay consistent with your rules. And so this is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at those stocks that have the relative strength lines that are, holding up well. I'm looking at those stocks that are already above their 50-day moving average lines when the market indexes are still below them. So this one at 26.61, adding 10 cents to that former high could be an entry right here. You could have maybe, gotten a little cute and said, oh, was that a handle? And gotten an early entry. One caveat I will put here is that, I mean, this is a lot of days up in a row. This has had a
Mhm.
strong move here. I'd actually not mind a handle forming. A
Yeah.
little pullback here, nice and orderly. We got some really strong volume the last 2 days. It would be nice to see that volume kind of trickle off as it maybe just goes sideways or even slopes down a little bit.
Mhm.
And that's one other reason why, if we could just get a little bit more of the indexes going sideways, that's where you're going to get some handles tacked on. You're going to get some bases finishing out, and that could, lead to even further power down the road. But it's it's
Mhm.
it's really tough right now with the extra volatility, with the names that are working and having the biggest moves. A lot of those having a lot of destruction. It's a
Yeah.
tougher market environment.
Yeah, it is. And that's exactly why, even though today was another step in the right direction, we want to be dipping our toe in the water and not plunging in head first.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Justin. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live, namely getting thoughts from David Ryan as well as the rest of the crew. And Scott St. Clair has a
Oh
very
yeah.
special feature to talk to us about that's on MarketSmith now. I'm pumped just like talking about it and being cryptic. So definitely tune in for that. We've got an exciting update to share with you all, something that I think we've been wanting to see for quite a while. So that's exciting. Investors.com/IBD live. Join us right ahead of the open tomorrow morning. We'll see you there. And we'll also see you right here tomorrow after the after the close. And then after that, because it's Tuesday, we're going to have the first Tuesday of the month. We're going to have one of our scorecards. And this Tuesday, it's our swing trader scorecard. And Thursday will be a leaderboard scorecard, our monthly webinars for both of those trading platforms, one for swing trading, one for position trading. So if you're a subscriber or trialist, we definitely hope you join us. So it's a jam-packed week already as we're kicking things off. And yeah.
Oh, I think we lost Allie again, but I'm sure she would have said goodbye.